Happy September 15th, 2023. September 15th. I think this is the date a couple of times in history. On 2007 September 15th, I think. Maybe it's 2008 September 15th. One of those big banks went under. I don't know if it was Lehman Brothers or Bear Stearns. I think it was this date, September 15th. Well, we're right. It's funny watching people and their heads are down while they're driving, on their phones, texting, while I'm on my phone making a video. However, I can see the entire road. And anyway, now this is the time. This is the time when they like to pull things. It's fall. It's coming up, and so true to the word, they like to make things fall. I saw an article somebody sent me about China and the BRICS nations. One of the ways they could be on a gold standard is take gold for oil. Well, that takes the participation of the Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia to allow something like that to happen. But if you took like the Chinese yuan or renminbi and made that part of the process too, that would strengthen it. But if you think about how the dollar remains strong, it remains strong because everybody had to buy oil in dollars. Well, if the BRICS nations or Saudi Arabia or China, they have some kind of deal to where it's like, hey, we got to take gold for oil. Or Saudi Arabia says you need to pay us in gold, or ties it to a currency that can be used. They could go on their own standard and use money, and so instead of it being backed by gold, it really is gold. I mean, it's like the currency's not necessarily backed by gold, but the currency can be redeemable for gold, I guess, used for gold. But in the process, if there's the demand for gold and they're accumulating it for oil, a resource that everybody needs. I know I'm not explaining this correctly, but think about what happened with the dollar. If you're forced to use the dollar, everybody has to go get dollars to buy the oil because that's the way it is. Saudi Arabia, the producers said that's the way it is. And if you didn't do it, the United States would come in and bust your skull. Say you have weapons of mass destruction and level your country. Take the leader out that they put in charge because he was a CIA asset. That happens all the time. So in this case, you don't need the military because the military just backed unsound money, which was the dollar. In this case, you've got sound money called gold. Well, all that gold's going to start going to Asia, the Middle East and Asia, because, hey, we're going to give you a discount if you pay with gold. That's all they got to do. Next thing you know, boom, all the gold goes to Asia or Europe, but in that ecosystem, the BRICS nations. So, I don't know, man. It still comes down to energy and what you need oil. I don't care. Maybe that's part of the plan. Oh, we need to electrify. We need to get off fossil fuels. It's a lot of dinosaurs. We need to get off fossil fuels. Maybe that's the thinking. I think it's more planned obsolescence and destruction by design myself, because these things aren't really sustainable and the cost input doesn't really justify what you get out in output. But so be it. But the other thing is, if they are going on a gold standard and they scoop up all the gold and it all goes east, I think we got a lot of gold in the ground here that we haven't tapped. So maybe that doesn't even matter. Who knows? Hard to say. It's just probably going to be some pain and suffering. For that rabbit if it doesn't move. There we go. So we'll see what happens, I guess. UAW is officially striking. Like I said before, UAW stands for You Ain't Working. Kind of a joke. But they're doing it in a little bit of a different way. It's limited strikes to where they called out workers in 3 different plants, in not the whole plant, but just strategic divisions in those plants. And so I kind of see where they're going. I mean, if they wanted maximum pain, they could shut everything down and call everybody out and strike. But I think they've only taken like 10% of the workforce, maybe a little bit more, and those are the people who are striking. But if they do it in such a way, I mean, it may be kind of smart to where the other employees, the other workers, still get to collect their full paychecks instead of strike benefits, and so there's not as much pain to go around. They continue to make their full-time salary, but the company suffers because, you know, maybe you're taking out strategic divisions of workers that, hey, if this one's gone, then everything else we do really doesn't matter. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure there's a grand strategy behind it all, but they're looking to get 40% more wages over the next 4 years. So that's a big increase. I mean, you know, 40% increase over 4 years. I get it. I mean, you know, with the cost of inflation, you've got people are getting pinched, and so they're probably just keeping up. Whereas the rest of us who don't have that bargaining power, you know, you're just getting hit. Oh, minimum wage is this. Well, it's minimum wage. It's not doing any good. Minimum wage in Illinois is $13 an hour. If you math that out and see what you're getting paid for $13 an hour, and you're not making it. If you've got a car payment, if you've got insurance you got to pay on the car, you know, you got to pay your rent. I mean, you got to eat. I mean, it's just not enough money. And then if you have a family, you can't raise a family. That's just for an individual. You might be able to scrape by, doubtfully, but you might be able to. I mean, and then if you need insurance, I mean, you add all that in. That's a money pit there. You know, the insurance. You know, where does that go? Are you ever going to need it? You get life insurance, you're never going to benefit from it. So there's all kinds of things you can spend money on. Sales taxes keep going up. It's never ending. So you've got the UAW trying to push back and say enough is enough. Can't handle it. You got another problem that I've noticed. Now, I think the FDA in 2000, it's all part of the whole thing. Everybody's struggling and they're turning to different ways. You know, hey, I need more money. You know, and I guess with the UAW too, they want a 40-hour work week, but they only want to work 32 hours. So they don't want to work as much to get paid more money. Maybe that's why they're on strike. So you've got Narcan. That was, you know, I think that's the trade name. It's Naxalone, I think it is. Whatever. It's an anti-opioid drug. So if you're overdosing on opioids, this counters it, and it's a nasal spray. You spray it up the person's nose, you know, and then okay, maybe they'll come out of the whole opioid. I don't even know what it is. Overdose. I don't know what happens. You stop breathing, or you keep erratic breathing, heart. I don't know. So this Narcan stuff, what it does, it counters the opioid overdose. Well, we're in a situation now to where it's so prevalent. Why did I take that off? Now it's just going to ding. Getting an accident on my own property. So, okay, boom, done. Window down, window open, and good. All right, so it's so bad that the FDA has to approve this thing, and it's going to be available over the counter. There's a place here locally. It's like a not a shelter, but just an aid center. You know, it's a nonprofit situation to where you can go in, maybe get some clothes, some blankets, maybe some basic medical supplies. But they have a vending machine that has Narcan in it. You just go in there and it's free, and it's, you know, funded from a grant from the state, I think. So it's gotten so prevalent that there are so many people addicted to opioids and could potentially die that it's become mainstream now to where you walk into your Walmart pharmacy and you know, oh, here's some Tylenol, here's this, oh, here's some Narcan, you know, next to the gauze bandages or something. I mean, that's the kind of society we're in. I mean, it's that bad to where it has to be available over the counter, and everybody should have one. My daughter went away to school, and it's one of those things, well, you know, everybody should probably have Narcan because you never know. Somebody's a friend or somebody, you know, gets addicted to opioids and overdoses, you know, you shoot that stuff up their nose, and hopefully, you know, they recover quickly. It's like, really? This is where we're at? And this is how bad it's become? Again, we didn't have this opioid crisis until really, you know, it correlates to going into Afghanistan. I mean, that's where all the poppies are. Where do you think the opium comes from? Just saying, you know, there are markers there. There are no coincidences. And so we've got troops over there fighting terrorism, but at the same time, a lot of opium's getting exported. And then we have an opioid crisis here that's pushed by these pharmaceutical companies of, we need to help you with your pain. Oh, it's prescribe more and more and more, and it's addictive, and you have to build a tolerance to it. And so, you know, here we are. And now we've got a wide open border. Oh, bringing in drugs, bringing in this, bringing in diseases. Nobody talks about that. We're all worried about, you know, getting COVID, all worried about getting our booster. But who's screening people at the border? I mean, that was one of the big reasons why you screen people in the past, because you don't know what they're bringing in. I mean, think about our history in the Americas. You have Spaniards coming over and wiping out populations because of disease, you know, because the natives here had no resistance to it. And so they're dropping dead. I mean, you've got foreign people from Europe, you know, coming in with different diseases that people over here in the Americas don't have any kind of tolerance built up to it. And it just kills them, devastates them. And so now we have a wide open border. And so let's go ahead and just let everybody in and see what happens. Put them right into the school system. Are these people getting tested? I mean, the state of New York, I know they're one of the most strict on vaccinations. I don't even know if they have any exemptions. If you can get out of it with a religious exemption or a medical exemption, they may, but like that's one of the states where it's like almost impossible to get a vaccination exemption. So are they applying the same rules to the students, the foreign students who are coming in? Are they having to, you know, do the same thing that citizens are, you know, forced to do? I'm curious, because if they're not getting checked out and you're just assimilating them into the population, doesn't that go against, you know, we had a lockdown for 2 years, you know, I mean, come on. COVID was that dangerous. But are we looking at the other things that are coming in and inundating the schools at this point? I don't know. It's just like nobody cares. It's destruction by design. That's all it is. You know, I facetiously say nobody cares. I mean, they care. They care about getting us sick. They want it. They want disasters. They want catastrophes. They want us to go through, you know, all of these things and distractions, because it distracts us from the real cause. And the cause is that we have illegitimate government that does not respect the rights of people, and they try to enslave us by keeping our minds occupied on all this stuff, arguing and bickering over everything, instead of just saying, guess what, we're not playing anymore. You guys aren't following the rules. We're not feeding you. We're not giving you energy. We're done. You know, so go, bye. Quit participating. It's a big game. Sick of it. Crazy. Yeah. There's something else I wanted to talk about. I talked about Narcan. I mean, it's systematic, you know, symbolic, I guess we could say, of our system at this point, that we're just a bunch of drug addicts. I mean, look at the people who are on drugs just to get through the day. Oh, I got this problem. Oh, I got heartburn. I got to take this thing. And then the side effects are this and this and this. Oh, we take this for the side effects of this that fix the, you know, instead of saying, hey, how can I naturally fix these things? Is there a way to naturally, you know, if I've got heartburn, can I take something? Maybe I should be taking apple cider vinegar and regulating my gut every day, trying to get some good probiotics into my stomach, into my system. Instead of doing that, it's like, oh, no, take the pill and then go get, you know, a bunch of pizzas and Coca-Colas and beers and, you know, party on, you know, football day. Take my Prilosec. I don't even know if that's the right drug. Who knows? Take my drug, you know, for heartburn. And it's just, there's side effects to all this stuff. It's all chemical. It's all man-made stuff. It's not natural. So, I don't know. That's where we're at. Oh, I know what I was going to say. There's you see all the mob stores, you know, where they get together and they mob the stores. They go in there and they just take everything they want. And the people just stand by and just let them take it. I mean, what would you do? Honestly, if you're an employee getting minimum wage, are you going to stop these people that could be armed with a knife or something? You'd slit your throat and you're dead. I mean, really, are you going to try and stop these people? It's like, it's not my money. You know, it's the corporate's problem, because what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to get in the way and use my life to get in the way in a mob to save a pair of shoes? No, you're not going to. So, you know, they just come in and they take stuff. You got 20 people that just come in with bags and just clean out the shelves. I mean, what may happen in my mind, what I'm thinking is, because here's what is happening. They're locking everything up, putting it behind glass, and you got a key to everything. You go into some of these stores and it's just, you got to ask them to open anything up. Oh, you want beer? Okay, let me open up the cabinet and then take out what beer you want. Oh, you got to go over here? Okay, let me open up this cabinet and then you can get this. And it's, you know, you can't just go in there. It becomes very labor intensive and very slow process at that point. He's going to unlock all this stuff, you know, and then lock it back up. And it's just ridiculous. But that's what it's becoming in some of these neighborhoods, to where it's getting into better neighborhoods, to where you didn't think it would happen. But it is happening, because if you're a criminal and you know you're going to get free stuff and nobody's going to stop you, you know, so pretty soon you say, well, shoot, I'm going to go into the nice stores in this nice neighborhood. I'm not just going down to, you know, Quickie Mart. You know, I'm going to go to, you know, Macy's or something, or, you know, or Apple Store. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to jack everything that's in there and nobody's going to stop me. So how do you stop it? I mean, a lot of the push is going to be, it all folds into their narrative to where they don't even want you going to stores. They just want you at home ordering off Amazon and drone deliver it. And it's just no interpersonal communication. It's just boom, boom, boom. Need digital money for that. Yeah, so they usher you into that digital framework, get you used to it. You throw the CBDC on you, then control everything you do. Central bank digital currency. So that's part of it. I'm off on a tangent a little bit, but where I see it going in the temporary is, there used to be a store, and I don't know where it started. I don't know if it started in like Arkansas or Alabama. That's what I'm thinking. But the Piggly Wiggly, the Piggly Wigglies, you know, you probably heard of those. But how that started was the guy who owned it, I don't know what his name was. He had a, you know, the traditional store to where you'd come in with a list of, this is what I need, you know, that many flour, this and that, and then they'd go collect it, put it in your basket or a box and bring it to the counter and you pay for it. Very slow, inefficient process, because a lot of it's in the back in the storeroom, and you've got, you know, people waiting in line. You know, hey, I'm waiting in line for an hour here. You know, this guy's getting all this stuff. We got to wait for the next person. You know, so the attendant, you know, goes back and gets everything. Well, here you go. Here's what you need. And he came up with the idea of, wow, this is really inefficient. Got a lot of people waiting a long time. It's not getting product moved fast enough. So he was one of the first people that came up with the idea of putting everything out on the shelves to where people can just come in and self-serve, grab the stuff, bring it to the counter. So I think we're going to see a reverse of that, to where, okay, fine, we may have it in display cases or pictures of it, you know, maybe digital pictures that you can just change out based on what you have, you know, as we get more high tech. But for right now, you'll just have like cardboard cutouts or something, you know, on the wall and with a number, and say, hey, I need this, 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 and this. You walk up there and then they go get it. Well, with technology, what's the point in even doing that? So why even have the store? Why even have that, you know, that storefront? You can have it digitally, and you're seeing it more and more, to where people will deliver it to you. Or you pull up, you know, you order it online, and as long as the experience is good and you can visualize it, and imagine VR, you're walking through the grocery store, seeing actually everything that you would have seen in real life, but you're going through and taking it and virtually putting it into your virtual cart, and then it comes time to check out, and you walk out and you pay with whatever method. I mean, you're having the experience at home with your goggles on, and then you pay for it, and then it shows up at your door. Or you can just go pick it up. You roll up in your car, and they bring it out, and they load it up for you. I see it going that way. And because of the crime in certain places, it's like you can't have the store open. Well, you gotta have armed guards on all this stuff, and you do. I mean, liquor stores have done that for a long time, and not the nicest areas, and even decent areas. You've got an armed guard there. But at some point, I guess it just gets to, hey, push them all into the virtual world. They don't need to be interacting. They don't need to be, you know, we don't need the labor. We don't need all this stuff. We'll just cut it out, and you just order it from home and have it delivered. So those jobs become, you know, you used to be working in the store, and now you're driving a car, you know, picking stuff off the, you know, and then taking it to a person. So it's just a changing dynamic. With technology, it allows you to do that. And with crime being what it is, you can't maintain a storefront. You know, you think about it, you know, you're in some of these cities, you know, you gotta clean up crap in front of your door before you open up during the day. I mean, who wants to do this? You know, some people urinating on the ground, you know, leaning over, all addicted like zombies to God knows whatever it is they take. I mean, you see some of these cities, and it's horrible. There's a guy on YouTube. He just walks the streets of Philadelphia, you know, recording. He's like, oh, here's this, you know, this is what it looks like. And it's just people just living on the streets, zombied out. And I mean, you know, I don't know what the zombie lean thing is, but you see them and they're just like, he's like leaning over, hanging like this. They're so out of it because they're just got whatever drugs in their body. I don't know enough about what it is, but I just see the results of it. And it's just like, what a sad, pathetic existence. I mean, a human being like that, it's just sad to be that taken over by a drug. I mean, and just not to be human anymore. And it's just like you've just turned yourself into a zombie, and that's what they look like. And it's just a terrible existence. And it's just sad to watch. I mean, you see people are just like sleeping, like almost dead looking, you know, on steps and on, it's just, I mean, So if you have these things going on, who wants to walk down the street and go to a store when you got to deal with all this? I mean, it's just, and who wants to open a shop when this is what's there? So I can see it with technology just going completely, you know, digital, everything delivered. And I mean, that's just the way it is. It's, I don't know, to watch it change because of why it's changing is just, it's sad to watch. I mean, it really is, to watch the whole decline and decay and the fall of an empire in real time. And that's where we're at. I mean, it really is. And so we just got to figure out how to, what we do on the other side. I don't know that there's any saving it in its current condition. I don't know that there is. I mean, you'd have to close the border, completely seal it off. You would have to do massive rehab on so many people to get them unhooked from drugs. You would have to figure out, okay, how are we getting robbed in our jobs? You know, all the taxes that are going to this government do nothing but enrich certain groups. I mean, you got to unwind all that. You got to put people in prison. You got to try them, convict them for crimes and abuses, not just indict them for a gun charge, Hunter Biden. I mean, it's just, they make big news of that, but they don't say a darn thing about the laptop. They don't say anything about the millions of dollars that have been taken in from foreign entities while Daddy was vice president. Oh, that'll all come out in the impeachment inquiry. But what will be done about it? There are crimes against this nation that have been committed. Dare I say the big T word, you know, and what the consequences of that are. I mean, this is serious stuff. I mean, people need to be punished. We cannot go rogue like this and think that we're going to, you know, somehow crawl out of it. It's not going to happen until justice is served. I mean, people have to be punished for their crimes. I mean, and that needs to be public. People need to understand it and see it. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. I just don't know if enough people are gonna get it and realize, because there needs to be a visceral, a fundamental gut check, punch in the gut change to where it's like, wow, whoo, okay, nobody's ever going to do that again. You know, they got punished. Okay, we better rethink how we're doing things, boys. You know, we've been kind of grifting here and, you know, taking things and, you know, not playing by the rules. We don't want to go down like that. So I think that reckoning needs to happen. All right, it's Friday. I'm not going to go off on that too long, but, you know, justice needs to be served at some point, or else we can't heal and move on. You know, people have committed crimes and done great damage to this country and the people of this country. It needs to be rectified. All right. Happy Hour Friday today at 4 p.m. Central Time, the lovely Litecoin Lisa's YouTube channel. Check it out. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. I'm sure she's got a big list. There's so many things to really discuss and get into, and hope to see you there. Love you all. Have a wonderful Friday. Don't give energy to these vampires. Always trust yourself.